In this video, we want to investigate how to go from words to symbols. Let's look at the following fairly simple case. Al and Bob baked chocolate chip cookies. In cases A through D below, which are all different from one another, we can figure out how to represent the number of cookies that Bob made relative to the number of cookies that Al made. But in all of the cases, we don't know how many cookies either of them made. So we need to introduce what's called the unknown. So X could represent any number. We don't know how many Al has made. So we will use the letter X, to represent the cookies by Al. We could have just as easily have used the letter A for Al, but we'll stick with X in this case. We now need a symbol for the cookies made by Bob, so let's use Y. Now let's analyze the first statement. Bob baked 3 less than the number of cookies that Al made. The number of cookies that Al made is all represented by the symbol X. Bob baked, that would be the symbol Y. The only thing left to figure out is what is meant by 3 less than. Well, we really only have a couple of choices. We have 4 operations that we can work with. We can work with addition. We can work with subtraction. We can use multiplication. Or we can use division. So you only have those 4 choices to worry about. I think when you see the words less than, it makes it fairly clear that you are working with subtraction in this case. So let's look at how we would write this out. We could say that Y is 3 less than X. Well, how would you represent that symbolically? You could take X minus 3. Take 3 units away from X. So we don't know how many cookies Al made, or how many cookies Bob made, but if I told you that Al had made 10 cookies, you could quickly tell me that Bob had made 7. Let's consider the second case. Once again, Bob baked would be our Y. The number of cookies that Al made could all be represented by X, and what we're left with is twice. So Y must be twice X. What operation should we be looking at? It's pretty clear in this case that twice would involve multiplication. So we have to take 2 times X. Now notice how I wrote this. Let me just, on the side, jot a few things down. We could have said 2 times X, but that gets a little bit confusing because of the number of X's floating around. The multiplication symbol looks like an X, and X is used as a variable. We could also have used the notation 2 dot X for 2 times X. Usually, though, mathematicians just write when you have an integer and a variable, they will simply write the 2 side by side, and it's implied multiplication. So 2x implies that we're multiplying 2 by x. You could also think of that as adding x twice. Let's look at case C. Bob baked, once again that will be Y, 3 less than twice the number of cookies that Al made. All of that is x that I just circled. So what we're focusing on is 3 less than twice x. So let's try to write that out. Y is could be the equal sign, 3 less than twice x. Well, this implies that we first need to find out what twice x is, and then we need to take 3 less than that. So we first have to multiply and then subtract. In the final case, Bob baked twice 3 less than the number of cookies that Al made. So in this case, the number of cookies that Bob baked is related to the number that Al made, but in this case, it's twice 3 less than the number of cookies Al made. So first we have to write down what 3 less than the number of cookies Al made was, which from case A is x minus 3. But we need to double this amount. So we have twice the quantity x minus 3, or 2 times the quantity x minus 3. So note, when you're reading something symbolically, whenever you have parentheses, you use the words, the quantity, indicating that you're looking at something in parentheses.